Hi, my name is Johnny. I'm 23 years old, and this is my alopecia story. I've had alopecia areata since I was 12 years old. I started out with just a little bald spot in the back of my head that I noticed before I started middle school, and I was already kind of prone to anxiety, so I was a little worried about it, but didn't really think too much into it. My mom also saw it, and she assured me, she's like, "Oh, this is nothing, just anyway." And so I started middle school, and then a few months into middle school, one of my buddies came up to me and was just like, "Hey, did you get hit in the back of the head or something? Like, why is there hair missing on the back of your head?" And I was like, "Oh," I don't know. Like, I didn't really know how to explain it. And so at that point, my mom and I went to the doctor and the dermatologist, and he told me I had alopecia areata, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's an autoimmune disease where the white blood cells think that the hair follicles are a virus. So they will attack it and cause hair loss in different areas around the head and circular patches. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Um, and so I started, telling me, what I needed to do to cure the hair loss. You start with cortisone injections. Did those for a couple years, but I don't think those really work very well, in my experience, because they just the hair would grow back a little bit and then it'd fall out again, and then it wouldn't really get to the root of actually causing hair growth. And I tried also steroid pills that they had me on, which are legal, and they um, were just not working very well either. Didn't really cause much. So yeah, so I just kind of went through middle school. Middle school was hard. The hair kept falling out more and more, losing confidence more and more, really worried about it, prone to anxiety. So I was just terrified of what people were saying, and people would comment on it. Some people were more nice than others. Some people would be like, "Oh, what's going on?" Like they're just actually generally curious about what was happening. And I was still just pretty choked up and pretty embarrassed to even talk about it and try to explain it. Um, and some people, be more mean about it. They call me like rat boy because they thought I like was bitten by like a rat and got a disease or something like that. And then I remember during like a silent reading in one of my classes in middle school, and someone yelled at me, they're like, "Hey Johnny, did you get in a fight with a razor?" And like, just really just kind of mean things, and I'd be really embarrassed and just wouldn't be able to respond. I just kind of ignored it. So I, started wearing a wig. I started wearing a hat that summer of seventh grade, just kind of cover up because the hair was falling out more and more. So I was like, "Oh, just wear a hat, call it good." Um, no, and the hair just kept falling out more and more. So they were just like, "Oh, why don't we try a wig?" And so I got a wig, and she tried to cut it as short as I want, didn't try to keep it too long or anything. Um, and so I just wore a hat over the wig. Um, and I just kind of looked like, just like kind of like with that skater style, just like long hair and like a hat over it. And so I was like, "Okay, this is great. I feel good. Like the hair looks great, and everything, the wig." And so, but the problem was that in middle school, you're not allowed to wear hats. So I had a lot of like, teachers and everything telling me to take my hat off, take your hat off. I even had one time a teacher coming up to me and just like grabbing my hat and just like yelling at me. She's like, "I've seen you, like all these teachers have told you to take your hat off and everything, and you haven't done it." And I was just terrified that she was going to take my hat and pull my hat off, my wig off, and I was just terrified. Um, and so uh, I just was trying to explain to her, all choked up, like, I have this because, I have an autoimmune disease, and I was like, and I even got like medical permission before from the vice principal to email to everyone that I had medical permission to wear a hat. So I explained it to her. She's like, "Oh, okay." So she eventually understood. And, it's just kind of like I had just bad moments like that. For the most part, it wasn't really too bad when I think about it, but there were just some bad moments where just people were commenting and ripping my hat off sometimes, or ripping my like wig off sometimes too. That would happen. Um, and I was just went with it, and I was really losing a lot of confidence and self-esteem. Just kind of hid away from everyone that summer before high school, because I just didn't really want to do anything. I didn't want to go swimming or anything with anyone. I didn't want to go to like the beach or do anything with friends. I just kind of shut myself away with video games and everything, and the hair just kept falling out more and more and more. So by the time I started high school, I was like pretty much completely bald, and I had like a big chunk of my eyebrow missing, and so I shaved my head, because my dad, who is like bald like himself pretty much, he was just telling me, just shave your head, shave your head, whatever, just shave your head. So I was like, okay, and like I tried it, and I couldn't handle it. I didn't like the way I looked at it. I was just didn't like it, and so um, I just wore a hat, for the next, I don't know, 3 or so years throughout high school. Um, and and then the hair kind of started growing back more and more like my junior year, maybe because I started taking these like ultra hair pills and things like that, which is called like Nature's Plus ultra hair pills. If you want to try them, they're also gluten free for anyone that has like celiac, which I know celiac's the an allergy to wheat and gluten, or just gluten. It it can be associated with alopecia, so it's also good to be taken if you're gluten free. And I think I've been taking that since like I was either junior or senior in high school, and I'm now 23 in my fifth year in college right now. So I've been taking them since then. I think they really have grown. They don't really stop hair loss, because I've had my hair completely fall out while I've been still taking them. But I think when like I think alopecia is really connected to a strong emotional response. Um, and I think that really, like, if you're in a good emotional like state, and not as stressed, and like, because for one thing, like when my hair grew back fully my junior year of high school, I was just exercising a lot and just really kind of finding myself. And I remember also just really finding cures for my anxiety, and I'm a Christian, and so I was really working on my relationship with Jesus Christ and God, and just how I was able to really kind of like find myself more. Um, and when I feel like God was trying to help me let it go by just by just not wearing a hat, not wearing hair. I shaved my head completely for the first time, or for the second time, I mean, after my sophomore year of college. So I just went with it, and just went around, without a hat on or anything, and just went into society without anything on, and I think that that's just kind of something that God wanted me to do for a long time. And when I did that, it just felt so much better. And I had a lot of different things to think about, and to focus on. Um, and it just was really good to kind of keep in touch, and I think even if you're not really religious or have any relationship with God, it's still a good thing to know, to just kind of be able to let it go. The more I think that I've let it go, the better it is. I've tried to control it for a really long time, and even still I struggle, because I have anxiety and slight OCD, so I try and struggle what is the cause of it. But when I've really let it go, that's when I've seen a lot of hair growth, and it's been amazing. Um, and I can tell you, for people who who don't want to go out and don't want to expose themselves bald, like, that's okay. You are absolutely beautiful, regardless of how many hairs you have on your head, regardless of, if you wear a wig, or if you wear hats or head scarves or anything. You are absolutely beautiful, and you can still be successful and still live your life with confidence. You have to be confident in yourself, and that is something that is so important, and it's not easy. It's easier said than done, but and I've struggled with that for a long time, working on self-esteem and self-worth, because alopecia, whatever type of alopecia you have, it can be very damaging psychologically. I mean, I'm very grateful and thankful that it's not something that causes any physical damage, or it's not life-threatening at all, but it's very psychologically damaging, and it can really damage your confidence and everything. And let me just tell you that, just and I know someone, who is completely bald, has no hair on his body whatsoever, and he has a wife, and I'm friends with his daughter, and he and advice that his wife gave me was to own it, just own it. And I really admire that, and I think that regardless of what you have, like, yeah, my hair has grown in, fall out, but I still have bald patches that are starting up again, right here, and like on the side and everything, and they're just to be able to own it, and to be yourself. And I know it's easier said than done, but when you do that and you start letting it go, I really think it's so beneficial. I think there's a lot of things, and maybe it is dietary for some people. I mean, for me personally, I don't think it's dietary. I've tried lots of different diets. Um, I think just being able to kind of let it go, and I don't know, sometimes I say this, let it go and let it grow. That's kind of just a little phrase sometimes I use. But it's when you learn to just kind of let things go, which is really tough, and you be yourself, and that you just know that who you are on the outside does not define who you are. Like, my hair does not define me, and you just gotta work on just being the best person that you can be. And really, like, for example, just kind of looking towards helping others, and in any way that you contribute to helping others, it really will help you, I think, be able to kind of let go of your own problems when you see what other people are facing. And I understand what you're going through is tough, and I think it's tough. It's not easy. Alopecia is not easy. And for anyone that is going through it, and I just saying that you just gotta keep on going and be yourself, because it's not your fault that you have this. It's something that we all have. I mean, well, not all of us. I'm talking about people who have alopecia. I'm speaking to you just specifically, that we all have alopecia, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing that we need to hide. And if you're more comfortable, wearing a wig, wearing a hat, wearing a scarf, that's totally fine. That's fine. For anyone that goes out with bald, that's great. There's so many different things that you can do. Um, but don't let it define who you are. Do not let alopecia define who you are. Be yourself, and just that's just the main thing. It's really tough. I know it's easier said than done, but just to be yourself, and focus on helping others as much as you can. That's really the best advice that I can give, for anyone that's struggling with alopecia, is to find ways to kind of get beyond yourself. Regardless of the situation, I know it's been tough, and I know it's hard, and it's not going to be easy. But I think when you find a way to get beyond your own problems and learn on to focus on others, then you yourself will also be able to solve your own problems in that way as well. So, for anyone out there, I just want to say that you are absolutely, absolutely beautiful, regardless of how many hairs you have in your head. I've seen people have lost complete hair and everything, and they're beautiful. You can tell just their eyes and their facial features. There's so much more to our looks than just hair. And I know it's a big thing in society to have hair and have your hair look like this and look like that. But I think when you really show people who you truly are, that's far more important than any hair could do. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and feel free to comment below, and thank you for all of you out there. I respect all of you and hope for the best for all of you. And yep, thank you guys.